My next claim is that morality and purpose cannot be found within science.
No, Peterson, that is not anything that even resembles a basic or sound premise. So, two things. One, you, in the way that you are doing this, are linking morality and purpose as if both are sourced from the same wellspring, so to speak. This is a presuppositional axiom that you are using in your logical process that you are not expressing to your fellow interlocutor, intellectually dishonest of you at the very least. Furthermore, morality is a subjective social construct of sentient beings or sentient creatures. At the very least, of conscious creatures. We see a level of morality in everything from whales to other primates, former human species like Homo erectus, Homo habilis, Homo neanderthalensis, etc. We also see this level of altruism in any kind of common tetrapodal communal species in general. The reason I bring up this distinction is because there are communal species from the hexapodal variety of insects, etc., that would not fit this criteria, that do not have the same level of altruism of caring for the sick or the injured. They function slightly differently, although even some hexapods show some evolved interest towards this communal living. This is not something that is even unique to the mammalian line. This is something that is almost quintessential to the niche survival of any communal species and their propagation therein. Oh, and God, you almost made me forget with how stupid you are, Peterson. What you are doing here is you are engaging on something called NOMA, Stephen Gould's non-overlapping magisteria. You are trying to say that science is the sphere of influence of the natural, the predictable, the demonstrable, the measurable, and that morality and the ephemeral, the purpose that we might have within this life is something that comes from the spiritual or the divine, building on your presuppositional axiom. This is absolutely an incorrect way of dealing with this, and it is absolutely ignorant of you to try. Noma on its face is fallacious reasoning. I'm actually planning on doing a video on Noma specifically to point out how fallacious it is and where the fallacies therein lie. And you bringing up this absolutely ignorant point as your second premise is something that is just going to spur me on to do it a little quicker. So thank you, Peterson. You may be a shitbag, but you made me get this video a little bit further up the list. The script's already done. You're going to be the one who gets to see it out in the next month. Go fuck yourself.
What is up, Mr. Canada?
How you doing, man?
Doing great.
What's your name?
Brian. I think it's interesting that you say that morality and purpose can't be found in science. Actually,
No, within science.
sure. Purpose, I actually grant you, because purpose is subjective, right? Unless you want to boil it down to the purpose of life is just to procreate, right? Sure, whatever. Morality is actually something that we do see. We actually have examples of Neanderthals and older individuals found in a tribe, missing an arm, missing teeth, still alive somehow in his 40s, 50s, right? Typically, you're a Neanderthal, you can't eat, you can't hunt, you die, right? But we know that members of his tribe were taking care of him, right? So we know that at some level, early in our evolutionary history, we actually developed altruism. We have examples of chimpanzees who actually have a basic understanding of fairness, right? If you give a chimpanzee 2 grapes, right, and his buddy gets 3, right? He actually freaks out, right? But you give both chimps 3 grapes and they're good.
Okay, Bryan, if you ever get the opportunity to watch this video, this is where you fucked up. Because what you are determining here is a semblance of fairness. This has nothing to do with altruism. This has nothing to do with communal self-sacrifice or communal group dynamics. What you were describing is interpersonal relationship dynamics of fairness and equity, equality, depending on the experiment in which you're talking about. That is not the same as to say morality, which is a greater societal implication, even within these troops of bonobos and chimps. They have their own societal constructs, some of which we understand, some of which we don't, and their morality is built within that framework. This is your mistake here. You confuse the two. It's an easy mistake to make.
We have examples of parrots.
Except for the greedy chimps.
Except for the greedy chimps.
They want
Yeah,
4
see,
grades.
They want 4 grades.
See, and this is where he points it out to you. It makes a good joke, distracts you, does his normal deflection fucking tactic of getting you off kilter and no longer working on the pace at which you were speaking. Like I said, that was where you fucked up.
Graves, those do exist, right? But we have similar examples where we do animal tests, right? And
So morality is intrinsic.
I think
So it precedes science.
No,
I think that
morality does not precede science. Science can be used to evaluate morality because morality is a social construct of sentient beings or conscious creatures. This is one of the things that, because of your presuppositional axiom, you have wildly misconstrued. So for you to say that it's intrinsic and precedes science, it shows by definition the axiom that you are trying to so delicately hide in the background, that you believe that the only source of morality is your fucking magic anthropomorphic immortal god.
Is that
actually
right?
a better way to define it would be that social animals, which we are, right,
Yeah.
require some level of morality or
Into what?
into-
I'm not disagreeing.
Sure.
Why do they require that?
because it's the only way that social groups can actually survive, right?
That's my point with
Sure.
regards to science. Thank you very much.
Is that
Precisely.
Okay, so Peterson just did a normal debate tactic here of assuming that what you answer completely affirmed what he was saying, even though you directly contradicted him. You made the right move, stopping him and making him explain himself. Good move.
The point that you just made, that science has to exist within a moral framework that isn't in itself scientific.
how's that not scientific?
Well, because it's not derived from the scientific process, as you just
It
indicated
doesn't
by
need to derive
pointing
from the
to.
scientific process.
Well,
It's
hang
the
on,
fact that
hang on a second.
we are social animals, and we need that to exist as a group.
I agree, but
Sure.
you pointed to the morality of Neanderthals,
Mhm.
to the morality of chimpanzees.
Mhm.
They didn't derive that from science.
Oh my God. Okay.
That's my point.
Okay. Peterson, this is your human exceptionalism coming out to create an argument from incredulity. That only Homo sapiens have developed science and worked within science. We know this is not true. We know, for example, in modern creatures, so we at least in modern times, that there are other creatures other than our own that use science. Now, do they use our version of the scientific method? No. But through the process of observation, experimentation, and replication of events, they do science to create new skills. Koraks are a great example of this, where they will use weights to displace water to get the food up out of a narrow tube that is too shallow for them to get the nut out of. They're presented with multiple weights, some hollow, some not, and they know to pick the ones that are actually solid so that it displaces water. This is a bird with a brain the size of my thumb. Science is done by creatures all over the place. We are just the most adept at it to our knowledge. This is your human exceptionalism and an argument in incredulity from your axiomatic presupposition. Go fuck yourself.
Point.
Science explains it.
No, science doesn't explain morality.
It doesn't explain how social animals would need to be.
Well, that's
Altruistic.
a complicated question.
But we see it though.
Yeah, but explaining the evolution of morality and explaining morality itself aren't the same thing.
Okay, so you're asking why does this happen?
Yes, that's more accurate.
Because we're social animals. And
Yeah, but there's more to it than that.
Is there?
Sure, sure. For example, so we're moral animals that have a sense of the future.
Sure.
Okay, that makes us unique. And that structures our morality.
No, actually, there are other animals that can predict the future. Or
Not
predict the
really.
future. No, tigers. Actually, there was a tiger at the SF Zoo that killed somebody. And so
Hunting
actually,
animals.
No. Kids threw shit at the tiger. The tiger actually plotted its escape, and it found the
I'm not
kid.
saying that animals can't think.
Okay,
No,
let's
but they can
pause here.
see the future.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Well,
Voted out by the majority.
Thank you, man.
good man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You were so boring that I literally had to deal with my phone for a second. Bryan, you made a mistake there, because while you are right to point this out, and by the way, I didn't know that story about the tiger chasing down a kid who threw crap at him. I'll have to look into that one and see if it is actually a level of temporal pre-planning. The term that you were looking for is temporal permanence. That is what these animals are shown to perceive, that they have a level of permanence within the timeline, and that they perceive a level of either altruism, aka help somebody who helped them, or revenge somebody who hurt them, go hurt them in return. This is technically accurate. It is absolutely something that we see in nature. I don't know if it's in tigers, but we see it in wolves, African wild dogs, sloths, all kinds of animals. Like, I don't want to go down an exhaustive list. There's just too fucking many, and I don't remember all of them off the top of my head. That being said, you made the mistake of trying to say that they do a level of predicting the future. This is true in a few creatures, like elephants, where they will predict that they're dying, see their death oncoming, and move to a communal graveyard, where their fellow elephants will, in certain cases, even go so far as to bury them upon their death. This shows, and they will avoid this area of a communal graveyard except for during times of death, where they come and mourn their dead and then move on. So this shows that level of temporal permanence that you were suggesting. Don't use tigers next time, because it makes you smile and it's a story that you've used before. Use the one that is going to best explain the particular modality of behavior that you're trying to explain. And at least in my understanding, in my experience, that would either come from certain primates or the elephants. Hi, I'm Jakk, and come back to us next time on FOFANews, and follow us on Substack and click the little bell down below. It helps a small channel like us out immensely. Thank you for coming.